The night opens like a velvet door and the world hushes. A pale shimmer gathers above the horizon, as if the sky itself is waking from a long dream. Somewhere between breath and thought, you feel a presence. Soft, luminous, attentive. Not a being with edges, but a cloud of light that knows your name. It makes no sound, yet its silence is fluent. In it, memory stirs. A time before time when you were not a stranger to yourself. You stood in a realm where light was the language and truth needed no explanation. This is the rumor that returns to you at 3 a.m., that you did not fall from the light so much as forget how to breathe it. That help has never stopped arriving. That the sky is full of messengers who do not knock because the door in you was never locked. Ancient Mandaeans spoke of Anana, heavenly clouds in the world of light, dwelling places of radiant beings called Uthras, and sometimes understood as their consorts. In that image is a medicine for our age, guidance not as command, but as embrace, not as argument, but as atmosphere. Gnostic hearts know this by another name, the pleroma, fullness before fracture, harmony before noise. You call it home without realizing why the word tastes like rain. The Anana draws near when the soul stops rehearsing its defenses. It descends when you choose simple truth over complicated self-betrayal. It gathers when you turn off the performance and sit with what is real. There is a reason you feel different. It isn't arrogance, it's homesickness. The world trained you to distrust your light, but your light has never distrusted you. Listen, if a cloud could hold you, if a song could lift you, if a memory could become weather, this would be it. You are being returned to the climate of the real. Light is not chaotic. It arranges into intelligences, currents, dwellings. Mandaeans called these dwellings shkintas, and they spoke of Uthras, excellencies, messengers of life, who inhabit them. At times, texts mention Uthras present in Anana, the cloud dwellings themselves, which may also be seen as feminine companions or consorts. To hear this is to unlearn loneliness. If reality is a communion of dwellings, then your soul is not an orphan, but an address that the true keeps visiting. Another word shimmers beside Anana, nitufta, a drop, sometimes translated as cloud, a title for the consorts of Uthras, a sign of water of life descending. It's less a character than a way light fertilizes worlds, how meaning becomes embodied. In Gnostic speech, we'd say eons emanate in syzygies, paired presences whose harmony births order. In Mandaean speech, we'd say a cloud of light meets a messenger, and the meeting itself becomes a path. Different maps, same mountain. Let the scholar in you enjoy the distinctions. Let the mystic in you recognize the family resemblance. When the heart is still, you can feel the pattern. Wisdom as atmosphere, compassion as climate, courage as weather rolling in from a homeland you didn't know you remembered. Nothing about this is escapist. The clouds arrive to ground you. They surround the soul not to shield it from the world, but to clarify the world, to separate the essential from the noise, the vow from the habit. If you have ever been calmed by a presence you could not name, you have tasted this. If you have ever felt a room fill with a gentleness that no one was personally generating, the Anana were practicing their craft. And if you have ever watched a lie evaporate without a fight, you have seen a cloud of light do what light always does. We imagine the fall as a catastrophe. Perhaps it was a fog, not a moral disqualification, but a diffusion of memory. The image that once held you steady blurred. The sentence that once defined you lost a verb. The archons thrive in fog. Their rule is confusion that parades as certainty, noise that pretends to be music, glitter that poses as gold. They fear clarity because clarity does not argue, it dawns. The Inanna do not wage war with swords. They condense meaning until it rains. They gather the humid contradictions in your life and lift them until the heavy breaks open into blessing. You have met this cloud in conflict when suddenly you didn't need to be right. You have met it in grief when a warmth arrived that did not erase the loss, but dignified it. You have met it in love when patience replaced the compulsion to fix. Sophia's story has been called a fall. Perhaps she moved through a fog on our behalf. Perhaps every time you move through misunderstanding into mercy, the myth is replaying and redeemed. Inanna are not escape hatches. They are clarifying fields. The closer they come, the more you want to tell the truth. Not because you're being judged, but because you finally can breathe. The cloud is not outside you. It rises from the unbroken place within you and meets its twin descending from the world of light. Two currents, one embrace. This is why silence is not absence, but presence. In silence, the fog thins. In silence, the cloud remembers your shape. Sacred texts sometimes name the clouds, poetic inventories where each Inanna carries a story, a virtue, a lineage. Some are paired with specific uthras, forming luminous partnerships. The catalogue reads like a sky full of living constellations. Imagine a map of your life annotated with such names. Kimsat Inanna, for the patience that carried you. Tula, the virgin for the untouched clarity in your core. Shahrat Abdatu Kishrat, for the mercy that braided 3 strands of you back together. Each name feels less like a label and more like a note in a chord. When you call one, you summon the harmony that belongs with it. It is prayer as music theory, invocation as resonance. This is not superstition, it's attunement. Names gather you. They focus the cloud into a teaching, a practice, a presence. The Gnostic in you knows this. The eons are also songs. Nous is a clarity you can breathe. Aletheia is a truth you can stand in. Zoe is a life you can feel in your hands. When you speak a true name, you don't control a power, you cohere with it. Your speech lines up with the way reality already loves to arrange itself. Prayer stops being a request and becomes participation. So write your life as a litany. Title each season with the cloud that saved it. Read it back when the fog returns. You are not begging for weather. You are remembering your climate. Consort is a delicate word, easily trivialized. But in sacred language, it points to reciprocity inside the divine. Not hierarchy, but duet. Not possession, but mutual unveiling. If Inanna can be read as feminine partners to the uthras, then the feminine here is not a stereotype but a mode of light, yielding without capitulating, welcoming without dissolving, soft yet fiercely exact. Gnostic streams speak of Sophia and her healing, the wisdom that erred and then turned exile into a doorway home. In that story, the consort principle is not decoration. It is the hinge upon which return swings. Think of the cloud as the veil that reveals. In human love, we learn this rhythm. We become ourselves in the presence of a gaze that doesn't consume. The Inanna are that gaze at scale. Language also returns differently through this veil. Words stop performing and start blessing. The word, logos, doesn't conquer. It clarifies, like dawn tidying a shoreline after a storm. Let this revise your prayer. Instead of, fix me, try gift me the cloud in which I remember. Instead of remove my enemies, try thin the fog until I see what is truly mine to do. The feminine mode of light protects promise while it ripens. It lets a vow become strong enough to be spoken without being broken by haste. When you feel held but not handled, unveiled but not exposed, that is the veil doing its ancient work. Begin with breath. Inhale as if drawing a fine mist into the heart. Exhale as if gifting that mist to the room. Imagine your ribs as the rim of a bowl catching rain from the anana. Add sound, not theatrics, but tone. Hum on the exhale until you feel the vibration gather behind the breastbone. The aim is not volume, but roundness. A resonance that makes the air feel companioned. Let your word be threefold: clear, kind, necessary. If a sentence cannot pass through all three gates, release it back into the cloud for refinement. Your speech becomes weather. Do not forecast storms you don't need. Practice silence without vacancy. Sit for 7 minutes and do nothing but allow the cloud to arrange you. If a thought grabs, bow to it, let it go. If a memory aches, cover it with the gentleness the anana carry. Try walking in the rain or beneath moving clouds with this prayer. As above, so am I, not in imitation, but in participation. Notice how the body relaxes when the sky is treated as kin. Before sleep, whisper the names that feel true. Clarity, mercy, courage, Aletheia, Zoe, Tula. Let them hang in the dark like soft lanterns. Upon waking, drink water as if it were a message, because in these traditions, drops carry revelation. Let the first taste of the day remind you that you are irrigated from a source. Every practice is an agreement with weather. I will be rained upon. I will be cleared. I will be quietly made new. Once, there was a city that lost its sun. The people survived by renting lumens from the market. Light by the hour, glow by the mood, shine by the post. Everything was luminous, and nothing was warm. A traveler arrived with no lantern, only a bowl. He walked the avenues smiling as if the night itself were a friend. "What do you carry?" the merchants asked. "A debt," he said, "and a memory." Then he placed the bowl in the square and simply breathed. A cloud gathered above the bowl. People laughed at first. Then they noticed their shoulders lowering, their breath deepening, their voices softening into honesty. Someone set down their rented lantern. Another cancelled their subscription to counterfeit dawn. The city began to glow from inside out. "What did you sell us?" the council demanded. "Nothing," the traveler answered. "I reminded the sky of the promise it made when your mothers named you." They tried to pay him. He declined and pointed up. "The account is settled when you stand in the weather of your vow." That night, the city slept without fear. In their dreams, they learned their real names. Ancient maps describe ascent, a ladder through heavens, a journey through powers. In Mandaean rites, the Masikta guides the soul upward with gifts of truth. In Gnostic tales, the soul passes through archontic gates by remembering what it is. Different vocabularies, same mercy. When you climb, you do not escape your life, you clarify it. Each rung sheds a lie. Each gate returns a word you gave away to stay safe. The Anana attend this ascent as weather around the ladder. Clouds kiss the hand that reaches. Mist cools the mind that burns with argument. What is the password at every gate? Clean speech. Not clever, not performative, simply accurate to the heart. When you tell the truth, the hinges remember how to open. You may feel a heaviness lift in the chest. You may weep without a story. You may laugh like a child discovering that doors push, not pull. The measure of progress is tenderness. If your ascent makes you harsh, you are climbing the wrong ladder. If it makes you gentle, you are already home. Let each day include one act of kushta, truth with a handshake, a promise kept, a small reconciliation, a refusal to gossip. The weather responds. By night, return the day to the cloud. Let it be rinsed, folded, placed on the shelf of the heart. Tomorrow, wear what is clean. You will begin to notice Anana with human faces. A friend who listens like rain. A stranger whose smile feels like weather clearing. A teacher who never tells you what to think and somehow makes thinking easier. Receive them without worship. Resist them without cynicism. Let gratitude be your stance. Thank you for reminding me of the climate I belong to. There are also storms that educate. The boss who tests your borders. The critic who reveals your attachment to being adored. These are clouds too, densities through which truth presses until it precipitates as courage. Bless the ordinary, a clean kitchen as a devotional act, a well-timed nap as spiritual warfare, a text that says, "I'm sorry" as a cloud, parting in the psyche. Do not hoard revelations. Weather is meant to move. Let every insight become an invitation. Let every healing widen the climate in which others can breathe. When you are tempted to control, remember, light does not grip. It organizes. It arranges. It invites every element into its proper place without violence. The archons will still try to sell you flashlights. Smile. You now generate what they can only imitate. This is the quiet revolution, an atmosphere of trust, house by house, breath by breath, cloud by cloud. At the end of the road, there is not a throne, but a weather pattern, a fullness that does not collapse you into it, but opens you within it. The pleroma is not a monarchy. It's a climate where everything is utterly itself and completely together. You realize the Anana were never foreign. They are the blush of your original face. They are the memory of your body before fear, the tone of your voice before rehearsal. Sophia lifts her gaze and it is your gaze. Logos speaks and it is your breath. Nous thinks and it is your clarity, not borrowed, not rented, remembered. Your task now is not to argue about light, but to become breathable. Walk into rooms and let the air improve. Refuse the performance of certainty and offer the confidence of presence. Adopt this vow. I will be weather for others. When the world storms, I will condense meaning into rain. When the world dries, I will carry wells. When the world lies, I will open windows. If you need a ritual to begin, step outside tonight. Look up, whisper your hidden name, and wait. When the cloud warms your chest, answer out loud. I remember. Call to action. If this spoke to you, please like, share, and comment with the cloud name you're reclaiming. For deeper immersion into this world of light, explore my Gnostic-inspired novels and audiobooks. They expand these mysteries through story. Links in the description. May the Anana keep finding you, and may you become the climate where others finally breathe.